there are
Historic downtown.
three separate districts in the Ranier, old Ranier area, and then he changed the name to be called Ranier Town Center instead of Historic Town Center.
Right.
Other than this little map is just solid
So
red.
it's all just one color.
All the way on.
All, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's
You
all,
heard our plea.
yeah.
You want
And
to
it's-
simplify it? Okay.
Then
Yes.
okay, there's semis coming down, belly dumps coming down, highway, also 113, that goes across the road, instead of going through, well, they're coming both sides. 17 belly dumps are coming in, full of dirt. Somebody's got a business down there called Wagner Quarry, I don't know if that's you or somebody in your family. We got the railroad down there, you wanna put the gasification plant, we got Woolman down there, we don't know if they're dynamite or not. So, it's getting to be a mess where it's called an industrial area. There's no more residential area down there. All it is a
That's
pile
not,
of dust coming out.
I'm sorry, that's not, the area you're referring to is not in Rainier limits. Okay? That,
You mean that County Road 144 is not considered Riverside Park?
where's 144?
Right there on the curve with County Road 113. We were annexed into Ranier. I'm trying to talk here.
Yeah, I know, I'm just trying to find your.
We're trying to figure out where you're talking about.
Could you point it out on the map?
This ain't funny, this is real serious stuff. This is County Road 144, that's 113.
Susan, is 144 the, what they used to call the Moonlight Road?
Then we got some dynamite coming over, I don't know who's doing it, by the railroad tracks. Also, they're shaking, the ground is rumbling.
144 for the audience is,
I don't
information
know,
is the
I
old.
don't know nothing about this map. We're down here, County Road 113, Riverside Park. County Road 113 goes across over here from, Highway 11 East. Instead of going this way to town, go straight down.
Okay.
Okay, we know where you're going. So what's your question, Susan?
You know what I'm talking about? here?
Yes,
That's on the
yeah,
map.
so what's the question?
Well, why, this would be considered an highway industrial district called Purple.
Okay.
I don't know where you're talking about with Bentonville. This is the industrial area. That's what is currently zoned industrial by the county. That's the only industrial area that we proposed.
And that's got a lot of dust down there. They just dropped out another load, they're kicking out rocks. I've had rocks kicked right into my face, my eyes, and nothing's been done about it. I've been complaining about the last 3 years, and it's still the same mess.
Okay, thank you, Susan. The count,
Well, at least still got rocks in here on the wall.
okay, now on the commercial, get back to the comprehensive zoning ordinances. Yes, Diane.
I'd just like to know what types of businesses are you attempting to put into that area?
We're not trying to attempt to put any in there. We're just saying that there would be allowed to be, if a business wanted to locate along the Highway 11 corridor, it would be allowed to do so. I'm sure there's certain types of businesses that,
What area are you talking about?
What types of criteria are you developing
Okay.
to keep?
Here,
the process
Diane, do you have a copy of this? This will answer your
coming
question.
into this area and-
Diane, here's the answer. Why don't you want me to read it, or
Yes.
the permitted uses,
I know, I have
why don't you read
Are we
it?
talking on the highway corridor, or are we talking in the industrial area?
We can pass them around, we gotta do it.
Should I go start your thing? No, good.
know, I think I can summarize the highway corridor.
Okay.
It's retail and service businesses, a grocery store, a pharmacy, a gas station, restaurants, bars, basic highway business corridor stuff are allowed. A clinic, things that would be allowed in the conditional use permit. Again, depending on traffic and other stuff would be like automobile sales, boat sales, those types of things. A veterinary clinic, outdoor recreation, RV park, resort, business schools, wholesalers, contractor shops.
What kind of contractor shops?
General and specialty, so your electrical contractor, your plumbing contractor. Like a heavy industrial construction contractor, that could potentially be allowed in the industrial zone. But also I think we would allow the conditional use like an apartment building or something like that. But, so we're talking about uses that are not generally creating negative impacts or potential for impacts on other properties, due to smoke or pollution or stuff like that. Other than trucks coming and going or people coming and going.
Okay, well, thank you on that. Now, is there any more questions on the Highway 11 zoning corridor, the business corridor, residential corridor, how that would be changed? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Gary, but just one, that area that's right across the street from us, the gravel street, it's in corridor area. Is that zoned any different now in this new plan than it was before?
No,
The same,
no, same
so it
zone.
could be motels, it could be things like that.
Yeah, what we did with, what was happening is Cushing County was basically kind of piecemeal rezoning this area into commercial when someone requested it.
And Josh, where he's talking about is in the old Ranier area.
Oh.
So,
Right there, right there, that area there.
Yeah, that would be the open air, hotel, motel, basically general retail services, those sorts of things.
Because I had heard, this is before my time, but I had heard that somebody had a big plan at one time to put a hotel or some kind of a multi-rental type of business in there, and it fell apart financially.
That was called the Sam.
Right now, that's one of the few streets in Old Ranier that isn't paved.
You got your certificate?
And just going up and down that street, we're talking about dust pollution. In a dry spell,
Well, and that's something with a conditional use permit, if a large user, like a hotel with a lot of traffic went in, you could require paving
Mhm.
as part of the conditional use permit.
Susan, that's good. Okay, under the current ordinance, we're moving down to the next one. The current ordinance, most remaining areas are R3, like Brennan's Beach, French Edition, Jameson Edition, Riverside Edition. Proposed ordinance, we would have R1, R2, new districts with smaller minimum lot sizes of a quarter acre. Similar setbacks, but existing larger lot sizes for R2.
Hasn't that already been zoned by the county already that way, that you just talked about?
yeah,
Is that how the county zoned it?
that's how the county has it, but the county won't have any zoning over that.
They're dumping.
Yeah, no,
They're dumping.
so we're not changing.
No, we're not
We're not changing what they're
Okay,
doing, yeah.
so really, when it's all said and done, the only zoning we're changing is in the old city of Ranier. Is that right or wrong?
No?
As far as the map goes, not as far as the ordinances go. The map of what's residential, what's commercial, that's the only thing we're changing in the whole city of Ranier.
I'm not sure.
We are
Zoning,
zoning
yes.
some properties on the highway that under existing ordinance are residential. We're recommending that they be rezoned commercial. One of the allowed uses would be, if you have an existing residential use or lot, that's an allowed use to continue along that corridor. But we've changed, we've made some minor adjustments on these districts and where they're at, but for the most part, they're going to be very similar.
Well, I would like to get to block 28, which is the resident, the stuff right here. You got the block 28, which should have been commercial. You got the old residential. That'd be next to your property. As far as I'm concerned, it should have been all commercial. And then he could have been grandfathered into residential. Because if you're gonna have a hotel and stuff on this side, you want parking on this side. Well, nobody contacted me about that.
That's why we're here right now.
Yeah, well, here. I would like an explanation on how the zoning board, or the planning board, reached some of their conclusions, how they come up with this map here.
Well, obviously, they didn't ask you, but I'm glad.
No, I'm just saying, I would like to know.
That would be something maybe Wilbur could come up with.
I called Wilbur last week and he didn't return the call.
On how we arrived at that map.
Yes.
Well, again, we started, basically we were trying to figure out, looking at kind of where predominantly the land use patterns were. We were looking at, since there's no development here and here, and they're along the highway, we thought that would probably be most appropriate in the future for more of a commercial development. Looking at kind of along the main roads, again, commercial, and then looking at where there's existing kind of more commercial, new commercial. Now, you would still be allowed to have a residential home in those areas. And then kind of looking out here and the other places where you get away from the main corridors and it's, why he keeps doing that, and it's largely residential, that's kind of where we designated for residential to occur. And after our last meeting, I think I talked to you a little bit. The map worked for me because I'm used to working with zoning maps, and I look at it and it made sense from just kind of looking at how we want things to grow. But what we've done is just really make this, take away those zones, make this all one district without talking about the zones really, and saying, we think the primary use, just based on the area of land, is going to be residential. You can continue to build residentials with just over-the-counter permits, but we'll allow commercial uses, really anywhere within here, but probably more along where there's existing commercial along those corridors with the conditional use. So, this is, it's a residential and a commercial district.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know that map is, like I said, it's kind of confusing, and saying one's a residential district and one's a commercial. It was really,
Is this the map or not?
no.
That's not.
No, since our last meeting,
And I didn't get a copy of this, I'm sorry.
since the last meeting, what I proposed is just
He just
to
wiped
do
out
away with
my
those
big
districts
one.
and just have one thing where,
Commercial or residential, it's all commercial or residential.
yeah.
All right.
Let's see, the current,
Say, Josh, what did you zone Rich and Tackle?
That's just zone, highway, commercial, I think that's this property here.
I think it is what it is right now.
I think actually, we kind of extended the commercial zoning over to that property, because that's what was used for at the time. But the rest of it, again, I think was a commercial.
It had been industrial.
On the last map, you had it as industrial, I think.
Well, it was industrial because that's what it was taxed as industrial.
I think I had it designated commercial, but, yeah, I think conditional use is like light fabrication specifically in that district, so it would fit, just, heavier manufacturing type stuff.
Would be a metal shop.
Sorry, what?
It could be a metal shop.
Yeah. I'd have to double check.
I mean, they produced tackle every 50 years.
Yeah.
So they did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of lead.
I think it's kept the same, I think it's the same as it was. I think I'm pretty sure that's why that little piece goes through here like that. We'll make sure that we.
Under the current ordinances, AF1, M2, and M3 districts, including the foreign trade zone, the proposed ordinances would change it to zone industrial, and that would update the district for more modern uses and compatible with the area. So in other words, our foreign trade zone, that's where she
Blue
referred
and Rock
to.
Road?
Yes. And by the way, that's a county road, so right now they're zoned AF1, M2, and M3, and it'll just be zoned industrial. And that's the area he pointed to in the purple.
That Moonlight Rock Road, County Road?
Yes. In the area.
So is that a paved road?
No, that road was retained by the county, and, that she's referring to, I called the county several times on that to try to get some chloride, and magnesium chloride on the road to control the dust, and so it's.
Well, I have been down there and they don't want to do nothing.
Anyway, the counties, there's several county roads still, the one right in front here is still a county road where we don't have jurisdiction over it. So they maintain their county roads, the city streets in Jameson, French Edition, back here, obviously, we still control those. So that was part of the annex. Ms. Gardner.
Thanks. I just would like to request that the contractor's shop and storage yard be moved to conditional uses because permitted uses so far has been causing serious damage to the area. And the deeper I dig, the worse it gets. So contractor shops obviously have something going on that is harming people in this area. The cancer.
It is a conditional use,
astronomical.
Diana. On the industrial, it is a conditional use.
Well, it's over here on permitted uses.
Are you talking about, we're talking about industrial. Are you on industrial? That's what we're talking about.
Highway, commercial?
That's the Highway 11 corridor. We're on the commercial, the industrial.
Did you put a copy up there on there?
So in the industrial zone, the new proposed industrial zone, contractor shops would be under the conditional use permit needed to build them. Current ordinance applied to C1 to approximately 31 acres east of Ranier. Proposed ordinance applied to R1 specific to that area.
And that's kind of the Riga Jig area and from the highway up to well, the highway up to Greenwich Beach all the way up to the west. There's that section over there that's wasn't Rainier before, but what's that's referring to?
Yeah, that would be changed to R1. Yes, Bob.
That should be done is if they have
Can you speak up, Bob?
they have a business that wants to start in the industrial zone that could affect the residents in the whole community. I think they should have an open forum and voice everybody's opinion on it, before the council decides.
In the industrial zone, I think, what is in the conditional, that would be like a conditional use permit where everybody would have input. So in the industrial zone, I don't know, did everybody have, or Okay. Do we have- Let me,
I think there's a copy for it.
okay, there's some copies. Let me read. The permitted uses in the industrial zone would be general manufacturing, industrial processing, assembly, fabrication, warehousing, logistics, office uses clearly subordinate to the support of permanent primary use. Which, what you're talking about now, the conditional uses in the industrial zone would be the contractor shop, salvage yards, manufacturing of hazardous and specialized stuff, rail and shipping facilities. In other words, if the railroad wanted to build something there, they would have to secure a conditional use permit. Recycling, the first week we had that issue with it, with International Falls. Now, there's solid waste disposal, of course, and stuff like that. So what would be permitted would be general manufacturing, industrial process. What is industrial process?
I had a definition for it in here. What I think I would probably recommend is that we change that to like a light manufacturing would be a permitted use, and then any like general or heavier manufacturing would be conditional, and that's where we would look at those impacts that might impact the broader neighborhood.
Logistics would be such as a trucking firm moving in or something
Yeah.
like that.
And this is really kind of based around, again, that area as the foreign trade zone.